Hello, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me in another of my monologues. Today I'm smoking my new pipe, which I bought from Chris Herriot. He's a pipe maker, a craftsman. And if you watch my other channel, you'll see me smoking it for the first time. And there's a sort of ritual when you smoke a pipe for the first time, and there probably isn't with most people, but within a certain YouTube pipe smoking fraternity there is. Anyway, he's a craftsman, Herriot Pipes, and you may remember that Julia and we met some other craftspeople, artisans, and we made some various things out of copper. And I've made this, you probably saw, I've made a pipe stand for my pipe, which is supposed to be a tobacco leaf. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. A number of people were saying, oh, that's a bit unusual on the channel, but it isn't unusual on my channel because we've been doing that sort of stuff for a long time, heritage, landscape, nature and crafts. And in recent times we've been concentrating, of course, on some of the ills that have been going on in the world. But there comes a point, does there not, when you have to start really concentrating on the things that matter to you. We've become very scared, and we've revealed what's going on and the truth and the corruption and all of the fraud that's going on. But if we hang on to that constantly, if we continually talk about it, focus on it, it's never going to go away. And really and truly what we need to be doing is moving on from that. And I feel that with the channel particularly. There's only so much you can talk about, you know, resistance on paying a fraudulent council tax, for example, or people being evicted, or about the stuff that's being sprayed in the sky. By the way, down here in Sussex we have a lovely sunny day. And I was actually thinking this morning, now that the UK government have said, oh, we're going to dim the sky, it dawned on me that in order for them to sell this concept to the people, not that they sell anything to the people, they just do it, don't they? But in order to convince us that that's what we need, we need to actually have some sunshine so that they can say we need to dim it, because otherwise people will go, well, hold on a minute, where is the sun? And we know that they've been dimming the sun for, well, you know, probably about 40 years on and off, and they've perfected their technique. It's costing them a fortune, but we're at the end of all of this. We are at the very cusp, and I want to get on to that. But we do need to move on. And I'm, as you know, you may not know, I'm going to put my pipe down in my pipe rest. I've been working on the book, Biggleswick. These are not the final version, it's not quite ready yet. I'm going through with a red pen now through the script, through the manuscript, which I printed out as a book, doing some corrections. The lovely Julia has a copy, and she's going through, checking on the story, looking for loose ends, saying, oh, you haven't tied that up with this, and this needs to go to there, and oh, that phrase does sound a bit funny. So it's really handy to have a second pair of eyes on it. And then other people, we've got some other people who will proofread it, who have no notion of it whatsoever, and they can, you know, give us feedback and proofread and what have you. But it's on its way. So very excited. That's not actually the final cover or anything, but we needed to put something. And it's a lovely book. It's a lovely, in terms of the production. So when that's ready, I shall tell you. But the point of raising this now is that's very much the motion of Biggleswick, the town that wouldn't comply, is a town that decide, and people get together. And in the allegory I mentioned some years ago now about how they all just decided to form their own council and ousted the council was there and just did their own thing. And of course, when you start to flesh out an allegory or a metaphor into a 350-page book, you need to actually sort of start dotting the T's and crossing the I's and working, well, how do you actually do that? What methods could you do that? And there's a lot of truths, hopefully, in the book about what's going on. Let me just shove this somewhere. But it's what they do that I think other towns could do. And part of that is moving on. Part of that really is, to me, is, as I said before, we can't hold on. It's like hoarding stuff in the house, isn't it? My house is full of all sorts of bits and pieces. As an entertainer, I've kept things because I used to put on plays, used to make films, comedy things. I used to try to get TV pilots together. So I kept loads of stuff. I mean, like these, this is the set originally for the old Vogue show that used to be a sort of nostalgic, fun, entertainment live streaming show. Now it's the background of my interviews, really, mostly. And Julia and I used to do that. And Julia often says, well, I've been evicted from the channel because we don't do the Vogue show anymore. But these are sort of like, well, what do I do with them? They're very nice. But so I've kept things because I've always thought, I might find a use for them, might be useful, might come in useful one day. But sometimes you just have to let things go, don't you? You've got to let them go and move on. And that's very much what the book is really about. It's like, well, we'll let go of all these policies that they want to hold us to, and we'll move on, and we're going to do our own thing. And they have lawful remedies, I suppose you might say, for being able to do that, so that they can push the council and their clipboards and peak caps and, anorak jackets and fluorescent jackets, rather, and all of that nonsense, and their sort of badges of authority, and saying, no, actually, we're just not in your world. We're not part of that system. We've moved away from that. And I think that's what we do. We need to open the door, open the window, pull back the curtain, and let in the light. Let in the light of the future. Let in the world that we want, rather than the world that we don't want. We're so focused. And it's interesting, Julia and I went down to Exeter recently at the weekend, and there was a sort of a dissident meet-up, if you like, in which a bunch of people were talking about a number of government policies which are penal, and one of them being the council tax, and what it is, the fraud, the corruption, explaining what's going on and how it works. And it was packed. There was loads of people in there fascinated to see how it all works. And of course, we are at a time now, and this is something that we kind of really forget, at no time in recent history, certainly within my lifetime, have we seen such numbers of people who are fed up with the under-the-thumb government control, and who are awake. COVID, of course, has woken loads of people up. Mr. Starmer is doing a marvellous job of waking people up and showing how government shouldn't be run. And a lot of people are now beginning to feel that actually we need something new, and these old systems are really crumbling. In the past, we thought, well, we could maybe patch them up a bit, and we tried that, try and vote a different party in. Now we realise, of course, that voting for any party is voting for the system that still wants to put the thumb down on us, and we're beginning to realise. And I think that at no time, really, have we seen a time where freedom, truth, and the ability to do what we want to do has really risen to the fore. And now it is a question of, let's open those windows, throw back the curtains, open the door, and let in the light, let in the creativity, the positivity. Let's not hold on to those old systems that have not benefited us at all. People are talking about mass non-compliance. They're saying, we don't want it. It's such an exciting time to be around, really. As I said many times, we're still running through the turbulence, but the end of the tunnel is in sight. And that's what makes it very exciting. And if we can keep our vibrations high, they don't want that. If we can keep our vibrations high and sail through all of this with a big smile on our face, knowing that actually the bad guys don't win. The good guys do. And if we're honourable and we hold our hearts high, then things are going to be okay. And so it's, for me as well, it's time to move on. You'll see that I'm doing less or fewer, I should say, fewer interviews. And that's going to happen till the point that I actually start to move away from all of this, because Julia and I, we had such fun working with our hands. I want to do more of that, more making, more writing, more creativity, and less talking about the problems. Because all the time, as I say, you're holding them in your hand. They're still there. Let them go. Let them go. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've got something out of that rambling. Until next time, look after yourself and enjoy, if you do, your pipes.